welcome Kim Webb today. She is with the new program called Fresh Start. She has spent most of her working life with the women's shelter, and she's very well qualified for her job. I used to go down and see, she's very pleasant person, very enthusiastic, a lot of fun. And I used to go down there just to kind of see her smile. It would make my day. Anyway, she is a graduate of Woodrose Community and Technical College, Human Services, and she was also in America. And she started working as an intern for the women's shelter in 2013. And she has sort of moved up over the years, and she went back to school and she got an LCSW and now is the director of programs. And she is also getting to work with addicts, which Kim feels very strongly that addiction is a family disease, which I agree. And so she gets to work with those people now. And of course, addicts affect children, and children become addicts. So her work is very important. So I think you're going to see Fresh Start become a corporate membership, and you'll be working with. So I give to you Ms. Kim Webb.
Welcome, listening, welcome. Thank you all so much for allowing me to speak today. I know Janet was scheduled and unfortunately she tested positive for COVID, so I'm the stand-in. I'm the cheerleader for this program, but I want to take you all to a place where we were and how we ended up where we are. So we were an emergency shelter. We've always been a sober living environment for people, but sometimes it's a real struggle this day and time. But we were getting money from KHC, grant money from KHC. We were on the ground working a rapid rehousing program. Understand when I talk, everyone deserves housing. I'm not one of those people that thinks that, I do believe there has to be accountability piece along with that, or all bets are off. So we were chugging along with this grant money and things were going well. And then Housing First reared its head. And Housing First states that you house the client that's homeless, and then you have a better opportunity to work with that client. Yes, I see that. But there weren't enough people on the ground after these clients were being housed. And then we had landlords that didn't want to work with the programs we had, which is a huge, huge issue because we have to have people that want to work with us or we can't do our job. So we continued with this. We continued doing the rapid rehousing program because I'm sure you're all aware if you apply for like Section 8, low income housing, anything, there's a waiting time. And so those vouchers and the rapid rehousing program allowed us to house these people and put a roof over their head and then get them into these programs. Another thing happened. I don't know if there was not enough staff or whatever, but they weren't being pushed into other programs. Now, mind you, some people have backgrounds that won't allow them to have federal housing or, they may owe money or whatever the case may be. But we had people in vouchers and rapid rehousing programs and they weren't moving. So it didn't free up any room for other people that were coming along to do those, to hopefully take advantage of those vouchers. So we still kept trucking. And then KHC with their emergency solutions grant said, if you want any of our money, you have to be a low barrier shelter. So low barrier means, and I was the case manager at that time, if I've got Sally Sue and Mary and Linda over here and they're white knuckling it to stay sober, and Beth comes in and Beth is high, drunk, I cannot deny Beth a bed. So thinking caps on again, and I'm sure you all are aware that Jill Robinson, Barbara Hadley Smith, Gail Robinson, there were so many people that made this happen. And so everybody started getting together, putting their thinking caps on. We walked away from anywhere from 74 to 94,000 funds because we couldn't be a low barrier shelter. I mean, you all know yourselves that that would have been the most chaotic mess that you ever. And here's where again I say I believe everyone deserves housing, but there has to be an accountability piece, or all bets are off. So we walked away from that funding, and found other grants. Thank goodness we had people that believed in our work, because not that I worked there, that Janet works there. It's been a stellar program because we had board members that were engaged and they guided us. Look, I'm getting really teary-eyed when I think about that, because I'm very blessed to be a part of that program. So on to my story. We walked away from that funding, and that was a huge, huge thing. We became an agency that wanted to work with people's underlying issues, whether it be mental health issues, substance abuse. I lost my sole provider. He passed away. I can't budget, whatever the case may be. We want to be able to work with those clients, so their chances, once we do get them housed, the percentage rate for success goes up. So we began working. We have recovery beds. We also have transitional beds. If you are in recovery and we ask that you complete programs, that we have all kinds of guidelines. I won't go into all that. But it allows these people to have a shot at stability again. And we still, we changed to when we were emergency shelter, we would set the client down. I'd work the case plan, make the appointments. We don't do that anymore. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. These clients get really handicapped when you're, when you're too close and you're making things happen. So now the deal is we connect them in the community. If it's mental health, we get them out there with therapists, get them out there with a case manager. So when they are out, they have other options. I can remember I got so scared because every client I had mattered, and I would do backup plans. I'd call my therapist and say, look, they're going out to voucher. I don't know if they're going to have a case manager that's, going to put a card in their door or whatever. Here's what I need you to do. If they don't show up for an appointment, call me. Because it's so easy to cancel an appointment when you've got to get on a bus, walk to a bus stop, rain's coming down, a lot of things going against them. We tried to set up a backup plan so they could have, success. But now we're able to do all those things and more. We have worked, and we are National Alliance of Recovery Residents. National Alliance of Recovery Residents is coming to do our certification. That's another huge thing that opens us up money. We had training from the Fletcher group before we ever, thank God for Ernie Fletcher for making those things happen, because you all know it right now. If you've got someone that you love that's out on these streets and they're addicted, I don't care if their friend gave it to them, their friend got it somewhere. My coworker lost her son. She buried him last week. It is, addiction wants to kill you in the first place, but now the fentanyl's killing everybody. So what I want to say is that I feel I'm like Diane. Diane's been a supporter, a friend, and our program does help people. It allows them, sometimes I'm people's emergency contact. Can you imagine that? They burn every bridge to where they don't even have someone to put on an emergency contact. And we help them rise above that. Do we fail or do they fail? Sometimes, yeah, but guess what? We have people that come back. We have previous clients that come back, show us cars they purchased, what they've done with a home they've purchased, they got their kids back. To me, that's a beautiful thing. And I'm very blessed to be a part of this organization, and I know my speech was probably not as good as Janet could have given it, but I just wanted you all to hear why we chose to take the path that we're taking. We don't evict people. If you come into us and you say, I can go to these classes, I can do this, this, and this, and you can't, I'm going to go in and do damage control, and I'm going to get you to a lower barrier, not low barrier, but somewhere where they can thrive. I help people get into nursing homes, assisted living, worked with APS, and I know they're overworked and sometimes it's very hard, but the important thing is taking each person at a time and letting them know that they are worthy of recovery, of a home, of a job, and hoping that at the end of that 9 to 12 months, as long as they're working a case plan, they can stay there. We have a family shelter, 2 units across the street. We have a single shelter that houses all our single girls. We have 3 units over our new office that will allow people to transition that need that extra after a year. They need more structure. They know this disease has kicked their ass or that budgeting kicked their tail, whatever. They can go across 1 bedroom by themselves. There's 3 up there. When you go to jail, you get a cot on the floor, if that, maybe a mat. When you go to rehab, single twin bed, they get their own full-size bed, own closet, washer, dryer, kitchen area, everything, egress at the back. So if there's ever any kind of issue, they can get out. Where this program's going, again, I say I'm blessed to be a part of it. I'm blessed that you all let me come talk today. And thank you so, so much.
Thank you. We're ready for questions. Go ahead.
Yeah.
No questions. Let me go into the mic so people on virtual record to us. Questions? Hold on, man. That's very moving, something you said.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments?
Have you noticed that recently or within the last year or two, are your services in more demand than ever as the problem
Yes.
increased significantly?
We went from having maybe 6 at one time. We wonder now we have, I had 3 call me yesterday from my own cell. And we had 2 and 9. I mean, it's happening and I'm grateful that it's happening. But I also think, people are seeing what's out there and they know they're playing Russian roulette with their lives. I really do believe that. Now, for some, if you, some people don't mean to overdose. It's crazy. I'm going to tell this one story because I found it just absolutely, I couldn't even wrap my head around it. So I had one come in. She came to me from drug courts program and she was like 2 hours late for the intake process. And when she finally got there, she looked like she'd just been worn out, not really high. And let me tell you, I can pass somebody in the hall and tell if I smell alcohol. I'm like, even with COVID, and I had it, I don't know. I can smell alcohol and I can look, and I'm pretty good at telling when people are jacked up, even if, But the issue is there's this new thing going on where 2 people get together. They've got their Narcan with them. One gets as high, as they possibly can, and that other one brings them back with Narcan. It's like a Russian roulette. And when I heard that, I thought, geez, that's not why I do Narcan training or pass it out by any means, but I want to show you the extreme people will go to. That's crazy to me. Crazy. And that person that you're allowing to do this with your life, guess what? They're high too. So we're fighting a huge battle.
Yes. Other questions? Okay, well, thank you very much. I got a gift for you.
I hope